And it says we are live for our hashtag Educators Can. Now, this is our fourth one, Nikki, isn't it?
It is.
And I'm back with Nikki Leonti, for our hashtag Educators Can. And this is the fourth Wednesday, and we're just doing 4 weeks in a row to really try and uplift and empower educators and answer some questions that we've had coming through. So we have 3 super questions for tonight. And shall we just pop the first one up?
Yeah, sounds good. This has been really interesting. I mean, here we started in Queensland, we started the school term last week. So we started just after the public holiday. This week we've got a public holiday. Next week we've got a public holiday. And so it's 3 weeks in a row. And if you're a parent who has care for their child on a Monday or Tuesday, kind of a bit pissed off.
Yeah.
So we have some questions about that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I can see both sides because I am a parent paying for childcare for each of those public holidays.
Yeah.
And an educator who gets excited when it's a public holiday because it's one of the only perks that we get with family daycare when it comes to, holiday pay. So, all right, what's our first question?
Our first question is how to explain to parents why we charge for public holidays. The first thing I wanted to say is this is a choice that educators have. Educators actually don't have to charge for public holidays if they don't want to. And this is something that I actually put in the too hard basket when I very first started, because I live slightly out of town and I know that it's something that parents get a bit thingy about. So I just said, I won't charge for public holidays. And it was actually something that I used to promote my service. I knew that some of the centres actually struggle to fill their Monday spots. It's the last day that a centre is often full on. And parents assume, I suppose, that they won't have the same obligations with family daycare educators, that they will be able to convince them that public holidays don't count for them, or they just don't realise that the same rules apply to us as they do in a centre.
Yeah, I think I have always chosen to charge for public holidays. Yeah. Because I had a family, the mum was an emergency vet nurse and always worked public holidays. So I was always open public holidays.
Yeah.
And she got paid, double, triple time, whatever she got paid. I charged double time for those that used care, and then I just charged the standard for those that didn't use the day. So I have always charged for public holidays.
Yeah. Diet Ryan saying we have a no sound.
Let's have a quick check. It could just be, you just need to click on the video.
Me?
No, not you.
Okay.
Let me just double check.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we do have audio. It's all good. So she just needs to check. Tina's saying she can hear us. So.
Yay, Tina, thank you. Okay, so refresh, everyone, refresh.
We've had some technical issues. That's probably sounds about right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, so I have charged public holidays, and I've always told parents, it is in my policy. So, whether they read the whole thing or not is their choice, but I do like to go through it with them. And I do point it out to parents, because it's the same. All
Communication.
Exactly. Like if they're unaware of it.
Yeah. They'll be paid off if they're unaware of it. But if you've had the conversation, if you've discussed it with them, if you tell them that, most educators, it's the same across the board, that it's how the regs are, it's how the rules are, and they're quite entitled to charge it, then I don't know. I think if you're consistent, number one, great communication, and parents are aware of it, then it's just how it is. It really is. It's just, it's the care choice that they have chosen, and they've actually made a choice to have care on, I was going to say on a Monday, because most public holidays are on Monday, but that doesn't really work for what's been the last 3 weeks, does it?
Yeah, well, it's been a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
2 Mondays and a Tuesday, And my son goes to kindy Mondays and Tuesdays. So, I mean, it's annoying, but it's just the way it is. But so do you charge for holidays now, or public holidays?
No, I just don't. I prefer not to work them. I have, when I was first an educator, I actually did, because I had a family that would use them. So, and because it needed to be across the board with all families having the same requirements. But now that I actually don't work them, I have no families that want or need them. I've just decided just to leave it. And that's just a choice that we make. And each educator has their own choice. I think when you have a parent that isn't happy, you can remind them that, they are actually being paid for their public holidays in most cases. That's working parents that obviously are being paid on that public holiday as well. And I think that can ease them a little bit. In the same token, there's really no need to engage in to and froing. Like it's how the policies are. It's one of the requirements. That's what they signed on for. And it's got to be in your fee policy. Don't leave it out of your fee policy, whether whether you're going to charge or not. Make sure it's in there so that it's black and white. It's right there. They've signed off on it, and you can just come back to it. Oh, look, you already signed off on this. This was something that was here right from the start. So there's no surprises.
Yes. And I think the other thing that you mentioned before is being consistent, because if you say, if one parent kind of really gives you the sob story and, saying, oh, I'm not getting paid today, I can't afford to pay childcare, and you become lenient to that, it means you cannot charge any family for any public holiday, because you do have to be consistent. So
you need to do what is in your fee policy. You can't just decide to change it. It's not. It doesn't. It's just not the way to go. No.
And also the other thing is, so the educator I was speaking to was kind of feeling quite guilty and ended up doing a bit of work on the environment and stuff like that on the public holiday, because I think there was a bit of guilt there for being paid for that day. You don't need to feel guilty if you are charging, and that's what, a lot of other people are having the day off and they are getting paid to, from work. They're not going into the office, sneaking in there, doing a bit of paperwork. They're not doing that. There's no guilt. There's no need for that. So,
it's just a choice.
Parents
it's already been made.
Agreed. Yeah. So it just needs to go straight back to them. And obviously, if the issue kind of escalates with a particular family, you can always refer them to your coordinator, who will say the exact same thing.
Yeah. Very true. Now, I've got comments coming through and I'm pressing the button, but they don't seem to be coming up. But Di Ryan says that we call it a holding fee. And And we actually call a holding fee something slightly different that we'll get to in a minute. But what do you call it, Nikki?
It's just public holiday. Like holding fee here is a different. That's for
for me too,
or like a bond kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the wording can always be a little bit different for each scheme.
Yeah, each of the schemes always call it something different, but call it what it is. It's a public holiday fee.
Yeah.
Okay, so any more questions? We've got some questions coming through. Just pop this next one in, and this next one in is how to explain to parents when there is a fee increase. I like this question.
This is a really good one. You know, especially as we're coming out to the end of financial year, and if you're fairly new to family daycare, especially, this is going to be quite new to you, but you can raise your fees. Now, it's not as simple as just raising your fees and thinking, oh, yay, I'll get more money per hour per child. There's a bit of a process.
Absolutely.
So you do need to give parents, so you need to talk to your coordinator first and ensure that it's still in line with hello, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Still in line with what their recommendations are, because schemes are responsible to set those fees. And then you do need to give parents a full month's notice.
Absolutely.
And so that is really important. And I guess for me, when I've had a fee increase, I've explained it, and not all my families have received the CCB CCR, but those that have, I explain what the difference is after their rebates, and that makes it, because that's realistic. Like, it's not, you're not trying to con them or anything. It is realistic. What is actually going to be out of pocket from them after this fee increase? And usually it's like 5 cents per hour or something. It's hardly anything after the rebates, and they're kind of like, oh, fine, no problem. That's generally how I explain it to parents. What do you do, Kat?
A couple of things here. Consistency again. My parents know that they will get a fee increase at the start of each financial year. I know if you are going to increase your fees, seriously, do it at the start of the financial year or at the start of January. 2 things. Parents, don't leave it 3 years and then put a fee increase in. Every single year at the start of the financial year, I will increase either by 10 cents if a fee increase, really isn't needed, or by more if it is needed. So I ring around the centres, I talk to my scheme, I talk to other educators, I look at my waiting list, I look at the engagement and messages that I get on my Facebook page. Like, it's not just an out of the blue, I'm going to add 20 cents to my fees this week. There's a lot of thinking behind it. There's consistency behind it. And it's a business choice. It's not something that should just be done out of the blue because you feel like it.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Like what you're saying is you want to make sure that parents stay with you.
Absolutely.
Because there's no point increasing your fees and a lot of people fall down at the...
Absolutely, Di. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Di's put in, if you do it at the financial year and go up by the CPI and CCB rebate, usually goes up the same amount. Absolutely. The gap for the parents is really minuscule. So that's the time to do it.
Yeah. And I was just going to make another point.
Sorry.
I forgot. No. That's okay. I've forgotten what it was. Never mind.
Something about increases and treating it like a business.
Yes. So, if you do leave it too long, that increase is going to have to be quite significant, and that then can lead to potentially losing family. So if you do wait 3 years, rather than do an increase of $1.50 after 3 years, do 50 cents per year, if that's what your plan is to do. I know there was a bit of an increase. I remember increasing my fees by at least 50 cents in one particular year because of the fee levy increase that I had from my scheme. That increase, so I had to increase my prices as well. I also like to talk to parents about the value, like perhaps I'm adding something else in. So we started doing more excursions, so I did increase so that I could kind of cover that. I don't like chasing parents for $3 here or $4 there. So, to go on to different excursions. So I much rather, and also they're paying significant amount for childcare.
They are, absolutely.
Pay them for additional things, which is your choice essentially to take the children on those events. So I decided to just increase the fees a little bit, and then I covered those extra things that we were doing. So I kind of highlighted to parents also what changes were happening, that you couldn't talk to other educators because I can't read the whole comment. Can you see that, Kat? Di just put in.
Oh, this is Di. Yeah, I totally agree with this. Di, we have a question from Christine first that we'll go to, and it says, how much do you feel is a viable fee if you provide all meals and fully qualified with many years experience? Look,
varies so much.
$6 in Melbourne, it could be $13 in Brisbane. That's sort of a how long is a piece of string question. Ring the centres around that are offering the meals and that have the qualified educators. Talk to your scheme about what other educators in your scheme are offering that have meals and that are fully qualified, and also go on the Care for Kids and have a really good look at educators around, one that's offering what you're offering, or two is in your area. Just because an educator is in maybe the same street as you and she's charging $8, it doesn't mean that you can't, as Nikki said, offer excursions, offer food, offer nappies and charge $10. But you have to be really clear on what you're advertising and why you're setting the fees and why the parents are getting value. So just because your neighbour or someone, the educator in your same street is charging $8 does not mean you have to charge $8, but you do need to know why, and the parents need to understand why, and you need to be able to communicate that to be full. Otherwise, parents will just ring you and say, I'm looking for the cheapest option. And it's actually okay to say to a parent, hey, I'm not the cheapest option, but I offer this, this, and this that other educators don't. Sell yourself. If you're going to charge more, be ready to sell yourself. And that might be, you might be offering the service that more parents are actually looking for. So, you can charge more. It's, I can't give you a figure. You've got a little bit of work to do for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, the differences just on different parts of the coast here on the Sunshine Coast where I am.
Yeah.
Different, 20 minutes one way, half hour the other way is going to be different. And also what, the types of parents that you're attracting as well. So I know Christina just said that she doesn't feel that centres.
Yeah. Christina's just put, I don't feel centre-based care is anything like family daycare. Me neither, absolutely. And
No.
the fee for family daycare need to reflect all that we may offer, particular consistent care. Absolutely. You know,
and
this
that's
is
part of that value that you have to
Yeah.
convey to parents, potential parents, because
Mm.
you know, the thing is, you have to, like, we know the value we offer for children in an environment that we're the same educator for them every single day. We know that. But if you've got a parent who maybe a first-time parent, or they've always just done centres and never even thought about family daycare,
Yeah.
they're looking at a centre with all the latest gizmos and gadgets and the, you know, fancy resources, and perhaps they're kind of thinking, oh yeah, but there's lots of staff to keep people accountable, which, as we all probably know, that's not necessarily the case. You know, they're looking at, well, how come she's in her home and she doesn't have iPads for every child, or, you know, whatever the centres are offering. So we need to be showing that value, and also we need to, you know, our price needs to reflect the value that we also perceive that we're giving. So if you're not confident in what you're offering, no one's actually going to pay maybe the price that you're really looking for, or the price that you're really worth. So you need to also see that value. And it's always difficult at the start to really know exactly what to charge. But if you do talk to your scheme, they can give you a clear idea, and also doing your research and ringing around. Because there's no point charging a lot and then you're empty.
Being empty. No. So Di has, she said, we were told we couldn't talk to other educators because of fee deregulation and price fixing. And absolutely, this is something that educators are talked about. Don't talk to your, you know, your closest educator and go, oh, we'll go $8. You know, you go $8, I go $8. We'll both be full.
Yeah, that's a totally different.
Totally different. So no, don't talk to educators about, you know, setting the same fees. But you can talk to educators about, well, I always talk to my scheme regularly about what the top and bottom fee is charged in our scheme. You can ring your scheme anytime and they actually need to be able to tell you that. But when you're talking to educators, talk to them about, you know, ask them, are they raising their fee or are they not? What do they offer and what don't they? But don't necessarily ask them what they're setting their fee at for you to set your fee the same. Yeah, that's not on.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, and why would you want to do that anyway? You know, I don't believe any educator is going to be able to offer exactly the same as another educator anyway.
No, you've got to set it yourself. And Christina's put in, I don't justify my fees. I know what I provide is worth and I am confident with my skills. Absolutely.
Excellent.
100% agree with that. That is just beautiful. Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay, so I have one more question and and it is, do all educator or educate? Do all educators charge full fee for holidays? So this, I think, is more along a holding fee, which is what Di mentioned earlier.
Oh, okay. See, when you've told me that question, I took it from like my holidays, like when I'm on holidays.
Okay.
Like, you know, I know there was, I mean, I don't know, I know that you can't, I'm on holidays, part of the question. But I mean, your scheme would tell you that for sure. You can't charge if you're not available.
Absolutely.
But I have charged half fees for holidays if I was given a particular amount of notice, and that was in my my fee policy as well. Again, it has to be in your fee policy, otherwise you cannot enforce it. Yeah. But I've always charged full fees for holidays if it was like, you know, if they're just going away, pretty spur of the moment thing, only because if I was given enough notice, I would have been able to fill the spot. And if I could fill the spot, then I'd only charge half fees. I wouldn't waive the fee entirely.
Absolutely. And I'm the same. I charge a 50% holding fee. I know we have educators in our scheme that charge a 75, and we have educators that charge the full fee. I chose to charge the 50% because I have parents on the waiting list and children that wanted to pick up the extra day. So if they gave me a week or more notice, then they would get the 50% discount. Once they gave me the notice, they did lose their spot because someone else was going to put in there. And it gave me the ability to earn time and a half instead of just the time. And if you don't give parents an incentive to actually give you notice, they won't give you notice. Why should they? Then it's of no benefit to them. I think to me, it was an incentive.
And it's a win-win. It's a great win for the family who's going on holiday. They're only having to pay half. It's a win for the person who really wanted the spot. They now get the spot. And it's a win for you because you get time and a half for that day, which is great. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I actually asked for a bit more notice than a week. But, you know, you can, if this is in your fee policy, then you can definitely enforce that. And again, this was a selling point for me.
Yeah, me too.
For families. So, yeah, that was, and also, you know, if kids, siblings were ill, like quite ill, and I would give them a discount for keeping their child home as well.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Because usually that was a bit of notice. And if it was going to be like, not if it was just a day or something, but if it was going to be like a week, then yeah. But to be honest, I didn't actually have to use that one, but that was an option as well for families because, you know, the likelihood of their child getting sick was pretty high and I didn't want that.
And that was something that you sold when you were doing your original interview with parents?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I think there's another list. There is actually a list of things that we could put together that that educators can use to promote themselves and actually fill themselves up in different ways that are the absolute norm that's being used. So if educators are struggling to be full, there is actually other things that they can implement to attract parents as long as they're communicating them and using them as a selling point. I think I might think on that for a little bit more.
Yes, well, because I always had I had an educator coming to me and she couldn't fill because her scheme charged a registration fee and so parents register before starting care, and other schemes weren't charging that fee. And I suggested, why don't you, because you have to charge that registration fee, like that's not your fee, that you can't change that. Why don't you offer like a little pack, a daycare pack that parents get when they start? And I mean, really, it's not going to cost you that much, but it's quite great value. Like it had a little drink bottle, a little lunchbox, and a little hat, which meant that parents didn't have to go and buy anything to get started. So, yeah, that really, you know, again, another selling point if you have some hurdles of that registration fee.
Christine said that and she didn't get the last few minutes. We're just talking about different things that might not be the same as all educators offer, and different ways of attracting parents if you might not be full. There are different things that you can offer parents as long as you're communicating them through. And I love that idea. Nikki's just said that about offering a pack, a welcome pack, and I love that.
Especially because you can brand it. Yeah, like you could get the hats branded. So when you're out, you know, that's a really good thing. I've seen some educators do little shirts, so that when they're at the playgrounds and things like that, they have contact details kind of on them. So, yeah, you know, and it's also great branding as well while you're out and about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have branding on, even if it's hats or shirts or something. Yeah, absolutely. Have something branded on when you're out and about with the children.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other questions, guys? Because I think there are 3 questions for tonight. Super valuable questions. I love them.
Especially this time of year, public holiday season.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And look, now is the time to be also thinking about things you want to add or things you want to take out of your fee policy as well. So have a little bit of a plan around what you're going to do with them. May. So they'll be they'll be due in the next 4 weeks too. So you've sort of got about a 4-week thinking time on what you want to add or take out of your fee policies as well.
Yeah, and you don't have to increase your fees. That's not what we're saying.
No, that's not what's saying at all.
Definitely, if you want to, then now is a really good time so that you can start implementing it by the start of July. Yeah, and talk to your scheme as well about it.
Yeah.
Christine just asked, do we only charge 50% for public holidays? So Catherine should report that you don't charge anything for public holidays.
No, I don't charge at all for public holidays.
And I have always charged for public holidays because, and it originally started because I had families using it. So it was important. And on public holidays, if they're using the care, I actually charge double the hourly rate. And usually the parents that need the care on that particular day are also getting paid double. So it's not usually an issue at all. And I've only had one family that uses the care, and the rest don't, but they do still get charged that full rate. And their CCB, CCR, if they're entitled to that, still applies for the public holiday as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Well, that was a fun little chat, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great. I liked those 3. They were great.
They were really good. Excellent. Well, thank you for having me on your page.
Oh, we are. We're on my page, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yay! We like it. We will see you next week, I think, with our hashtag Educators Can.
Sounds great.
Super. And if you've got any more comments or questions, pop them in the chat and we will come back to them. Di saying thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.